evening, Cebu. Good evening, Philippines. It's open mic night tonight, and tonight we have one of Cebu's most sought-after designers, fashion designers, and he was my schoolmate in elementary and college, Mr. Lord Maturan. Hi, Lord.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me here.
I'm happy that you're here. Finally.
Yes, finally. Again.
Yeah, and you're a very big part of open mic because my first suits were designed by you.
Oh yeah, I still remember. I have 2 delivered tonight.
Thank you.
I hope you're gonna wear them.
And in fact, I had Bridget Mueller for an earlier episode, and the suit I wore to the Top Line Energy signing with our partner in America was also designed by you.
Thank you for wearing it.
When you were on your way, Bridget was saying, "Oh, so this is the designer you were saying that designed the perfect fit."
Oh wow! I hope she did not get underwhelmed seeing me when I arrived. I look so haggard.
You look like a designer. You look the part. So, Lord, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Spoken like a true beauty queen.
Yes.
So Lord and I go a long way back. We were batchmates.
Batchmates back in college.
And also in
grade school. We went to the same elementary school.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I remember I was actually telling Eric Lin when he was asking me who designed my suit when we were in Houston. He was asking, "So who designed your suit?" "Oh, it's my friend from way back." And it's so funny. I don't know if you remember this. When you asked me when he was in 5th grade in Cebuano, he was like, "Are you gay?"
Oh no.
Yes, you asked me.
I was nosy like that, so
I was
sorry.
sleeping. I was a Tuesday or Wednesday sleeper.
Yes.
And then you were like 5A and I was in 5B.
Because you were in grade 5A. We were at grade 5.
No, I was 5A. You were 5B. I was 5B. No, you were 5A.
5A.
Yes.
Because the 5A kids weren't really exposed to the priests. It was you who were in 5B.
Priests.
Yeah, priests.
Yeah.
Because when we started out, we were like 11.
I don't remember that.
Yes.
11 students?
11 gay kids. 11 gay kids.
Count.
I counted them because I was observant like that.
But you were called to the principal's office.
More often than the ones who were in fraternities.
So that's why I decided, more often than the ones who were in fraternities. But because of that, I was in 5th grade. And I made a decision to leave.
Yeah, good for you.
That's why now fast forward to the present, Boy Abunda, who's a very vocal gay rights advocate, I say I respect the cause and I support everyone who supports it, but I can't be a front runner or a champion as much as he is, because I've never felt personally. I've never felt discriminated against.
Yeah.
And he says never. And I tried to recall. Maybe I was, but
in grade 5, you chose to move out.
Yes, I chose to. Yes. To move to a different school because hey, I don't like. I was forced to play soccer.
Me too. We had to go through all the.
I was in the varsity. Would you believe? Junior varsity, but not.
I was even in the varsity of football. Would you believe?
The same football and soccer, right?
Oh yeah, football and soccer. Yeah, football. So I.
So look at how we turned out.
Yes. Yes. And polka dot tops like that. Yes.
And then but going back to 5th grade, I mentioned our grade school years. Did you always want to become a fashion designer even then?
Yes, ever since. So I've
How old were you when you decided, okay, I want to be designing codes for a living?
I think I was about 5 years old. I already knew how to draw that well. My mom was a teacher.
Okay.
I'd usually go to her class to sit in and
I met
play.
her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, and play with her students who made paper dolls. And then their paper dolls were all very basic. And so I'll grab one paper doll, I'll fold the paper, and I'll make a really cute outfit for the paper doll. And then the kids would go cheering because their paper dolls already has this very beautiful dress.
So you'd improve on paper dolls.
Yes.
So that was when you started.
That was when I
tweaking.
Yes.
Design. How old were you at the time?
That was 5. I guess I was 5.
You were 5.
Yeah, and then
so you didn't have a particular influence.
Well, my mom used to design her own clothes. So every time she gets clothes from the from the seamstress's house or from the seamstress's place, I'd go really excited.
But not a particular interest like, let's say, Armani or...
No, I don't know any designers back then. So my awareness for designers came in around second year high school when, you know, Princess Diana died. And then that was the
96,
time...
98, something
96, that was the time that her death came in a series of 3. There was Gianni Versace, Princess Diana, and then Mother Teresa. Teresa, how do I say it? Mother Teresa.
Teresa of Calcutta.
Yeah, there were like a series of 3, and that's when I got an awareness for fashion because Gianni Versace died. That was 96.
And
I remember
Diana
so well.
Also, and she was celebrated also as a fashion icon.
As a fashion icon during the time.
But what a juxtaposition to the living, at that time, a living saint, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, who was very simple, who didn't even wear shoes.
But she was from India. India is like a center for, it's like a place for intricate crafts.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's where, you know, fashion people also flock to get materials from.
And I think theirs is a very defined subculture when it comes to fashion and
textile and embroidery.
Correct.
Any designer who'd get, you know, exposed or immersed to the culture of beading in the Middle East or somewhere in India comes home like a different designer.
You know, as opposed to other cultures which have probably defined food or culinary subcultures. When it comes to India, you see a fabric, a pattern, you would know.
Yeah, you would know. Yeah, it's very distinct.
So that's for Mother Teresa, but she didn't use those.
Yeah, she did not. She lived a very simple life.
So much so that she is already a saint. So it was Gianni Versace or Diana's death that piqued your interest?
I think Diana, and then Gianni came in next. Oh, this is Gianni. So when she died, there was like a whole documentaries about who she wore, how she looked like in events, and then, you know, that sparked a lot of interest. And then came Gianni's death.
But when we were in high school, I remember there was MIRC.
Yes.
And then we were the first generation that actually grew up
with internet,
experimenting with internet and the dial-up connected.
Yes.
And then, oy, butang imong telepono, kaya mo tawag mo sana mo internet ko.
Yes. What you call this? Party line.
Yeah, and even the
dial-up.
You know, you can't connect to the internet if someone's using the phone. And then this was the time when there were internet cafes, but we didn't have
smartphones.
So it wasn't as easy as it is now to scouring the internet.
Exactly. It was a different time.
So how did you pursue this interest? Okay, Gianni Versace, Diana dies, Gianni Versace, and then one thing I'm sure led to another. So what was the process there?
I honed my skills in sketching and in art during that time. I guess back in high school, I was still looking for myself, searching for myself, because I wasn't. How do I explain this? High school, I was very lost. College, I found myself. So during that entire time, during that entire duration, I built myself and programmed myself to go to the direction where I'm supposed to be at.
So basically, that period was those were your formative years.
Yes,
as
formative years.
Fashion designer. So that's where your foundation is.
Yes.
So, what forms your foundation? Who are your influences in fashion?
My influences in fashion, first off, was my mom.
Yes.
So my mom used to do clothes, and then sometimes if she gets really hassled and going back to the seamstress to fix like a certain imperfection, she'd fix it herself. So that's where I got the idea of how to use the needle, how to use the bobbin.
So you were very hands-on. It wasn't just.
I am very hands-on.
Just aesthetics.
Yeah.
It was also the practical application of things. No?
Yes.
But after the Gianni Versace Diana episode, when you started reading up on the different designers, who inspired you the most? Coco Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent.
I'm always interested in how a brand built itself from the ground up, and unfortunately their downfalls.
Okay.
So that becomes like a cautionary tale for me, because you know Coco Chanel died, not the owner of Chanel, right?
But the name is there.
But the name is there.
Eponymous name is there.
Yes, the Louis Vuitton brand is owned not by the family of Louis Vuitton. It's owned by like a conglomerate company that you know that resurrects brands.
Isn't it the same? Am I correct? Is it the company of Salma Hayek's husband? No.
I'm not sure.
Because that guy.
I'm not sure. LVMH.
That guy owns a bunch of all these bunch of luxury brands.
If I'm not mistaken, Brian Arnold.
Yes,
I'm not,
something like that.
Yes, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So, yeah, so you study, but that's the business model, not so much the creatives. Of course, the money comes where the creativity is.
Yes.
Right? So, throughout the time, who would you say inspired you and became your influence?
Okay. Filipino designers would have to be Raho Laurel because of he's very business savvy. Fern Oni, he's a Cebuano. Fern Oni Amato, because of his super ultra mega creativity when it comes to putting up a show. And of course Carrie Santiago. I mean, their brains are kind of really wired differently. I mean, if there's like X-Men and there's Professor X, they're like the Professor
Genius,
X.
no?
They're like the genius. You know, and you know, I fall around the Storm or Rogue. If I were, no, I'm kidding.
But some of us loved Storm growing up.
Yes.
I remember. Oh, that's her hair.
Yes.
I remember we would play Japanese game. I think it would be Storm.
Storm or Rogue or Jean Grey, something like that.
I remember
Yes,
that.
always the female characters.
Yeah. And so those are your Filipino fashion influences.
Fashion influencers. International would have to be Tom Ford.
Okay.
How he resurrected, you know, the brand Gucci, and built it from the ashes. It was
the phoenix.
Yes.
From the ashes. Yeah.
Who else? Karl Lagerfeld, who.
But they're mostly men, huh?
Most of them are men. You know, I'll also cite like a female designer. A female designer would have to be Vivienne Westwood because of her eccentric ideas.
And like that, when it comes to your international or foreign fashion influences, they're not the most mainstream.
Yes, they aren't the most mainstream, because the most mainstream designers tend to become really commercial.
Yeah.
They tend to cater to the market that has buying power, and once you lose yourself in the commercialness of a certain field, you kind of lose yourself. So I always gravitate to the ones who are really creatively eccentric.
Yeah. Speaking of, you know, I admittedly, where's my camera there? Admittedly, I have my friend Rion Palacios, who is a fashion savant, a fashion connoisseur, or whatever you call it. I think it was Rion who I said that I told him that I have quite low fashion quotient. I mean, I don't know all the technical.
We thank you for that, of course, because we'd lose our jobs if you have like a high fashion.
No, like for example, you know, I know the names, but I know the names, but I couldn't necessarily match all the names, the brand names with the designs, unless they're very recognizable and very distinct, like Gucci and the Pradas, and the Louis Vuittons. You could spot, no, from in an instant. But I would say I have a working knowledge of fashion. I do know, I guess, hopefully, what fits.
Yes.
What fits me and my petite stature. But I would try to survive. I would try to survive this conversation. So anyway, you said that you prefer the non-mainstream.
Yeah, that's where the most creativity is at.
So would you say that your fashion, your output is more avant-garde, or what is it? Can you describe your output?
Well, I started out,
but sorry, but the time is up.
Sorry,
you have to pause for a short break. So hold that thought. Open mic. We'll be right back with Lord Maturan's answer to my question.
Yay.
We're back here at Open Mic with Lord Maturan. So
Yes.
Lord, sorry to rudely interrupt you as you were answering my question. So yes, you were saying, how would you describe your output?
Well, when I started out, I was a very niche market, avant-garde menswear designer, and I was like that for like 3 years. But then I decided to open the shop. So when I opened the shop, it was like a different ball game. So
You had to cater to.
yeah, I had to dip my hands into bridal, into evening wear, because you cannot pay the rent with just suits.
Would you say that you compromised?
I did a lot of compromising.
Is it something that some people are some artists are very particular?
Yes.
And they feel like they're a sellout. Are you one of those? Or are you more pragmatic?
Not sure. How do I say this? Well, ideally in a perfect world, you'd wanna capitalize on what you're good at or what your aesthetics are. But then when I opened the shop, I had to dip my hands into bridal and evening because, like what I said, it cannot pay the rent. So when I worked my ass off to get to. Sorry for that.
Okay.
I worked my ass off to get to where I am, with bridal, and thank God, I'm already like a household name when it comes to bridal.
Yeah.
But then again, people tend to forget that I used to be a menswear designer, or I'm eccentrically creative.
Marty Fairback, who's based in London, was asking, what made you decide to concentrate or become famous? Why did you become famous in menswear? Making menswear.
Oh, I'm actually not famous in menswear at all.
Maybe because
maybe because you were plugging it a lot. So thank you. Thank you.
Because she said also that she liked what I wore in Houston.
Oh, thank you, Miss Fairback.
I also like the suit that you wore in Houston. Parang pinagawa sa London.
Hey,
like
that's
from Savile Row.
Oh, of course. That's because I studied fashion and tailoring in London. So at some point,
you hear that, Marie?
At some point, we interned a little bit at Savile Row, actually.
Oh, you interned in Savile Row?
Yes, but I did not cut fabrics. I was just there to.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the working environment. It's the creative environment that you're exposed to.
Yes.
No wonder it fit me like it.
Yeah.
I felt like $1 million.
Thank you. So I know how seams should work well with.
And to think that suit was basically haphazardly done.
Was it haphazardly done?
It's been less than a week.
Yeah, less than a week. Yeah, because you pressured me like that. I initially said no, but then he pushed me to do two.
No, I try to push people to their limits.
Yes.
To be the best that they could be.
Glad I survived it.
So yeah. But initially you were focused on menswear. Why was that the case?
Because that was really like the thing that I'm really good at. Proportions. Because we graduated in Don Bosco. It's all about proportions and drafting.
So you think it's because you came from an all-boys school?
I think so because my sense of proportion is always there.
And that's why you prefer the male species.
The male, yes. No.
In general.
It's just like I like to work with wool and a lot of thick fabrics. I used to not do a lot of chiffon. I hated chiffon back then.
But now, because of necessity.
Yes.
So would you say that? Are you a fan of the movies?
Yeah, of course.
So would you say that in a way? I remember a few weeks ago, it went viral. I'm not entirely sure if it was legit or maybe, but I saw it in some legitimate news site that Martin Scorsese criticized Marvel.
Oh,
so,
yeah?
Yeah, because it's mainstream, no? It brings in the billions.
I love Marvel.
So would you say that in a way, you started out as something like a Martin Scorsese, and then you opened up to becoming like a filmmaker that makes Marvel movies because it's more mainstream.
Yeah, I guess so.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And speaking of Marvel, my sketching was solely based on Marvel comics. So if I weren't a designer right now, I'd be like a comic book artist.
I remember your I enjoyed you and Francis Alba for me had the best sketches
thank you.
that I remember from college because I took up advertising, contrary to popular belief. I did not take up political science or business.
Yes.
I took up advertising. It doesn't show, but that's the truth.
I took up interior design.
Because at that time there was no fashion design.
Yes, that was
program. Yeah.
That was the closest that I could get to a fashion to an art program. So my parents can afford to send me to Manila for like a fashion school, you know. So
but the discipline is the same, essentially, right?
Yeah,
the principles of aesthetics, proportion, all of these things.
The discipline.
The arts. If you have a good foundation in humanities related course, it can apply to other art related field. So anyway, you had to evolve as not just as an artist but as a business person.
Yes. Oh my God. Talk about business.
How was that? Because you said from high school to college, you were sort of finding out for yourself.
Yes.
What you are. You're finding your. If you were a writer, you were finding your voice.
Yes.
You were finding your style, finding yourself, and then you found it in college. You enrolled and you knew exactly that you wanted to be a fashion designer. But from there until you had to pay the bills.
Yes.
When you were out in the real world, you had to
my God,
make compromises. Did you feel lost again?
Lost, no, because I cannot afford to be lost. I cannot lose it. So when I opened the shop, I had to teach myself, you know, all the aspects about business. So I'm not saying I'm the best business person around, but I know my way around running a business.
Okay.
So my business acumen came about not because I studied it, but because I needed to survive. So I needed to pay the bills. I needed to pay the
survival is a good motivation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
So you didn't feel lost. So there was no sense of self-doubt from the time that you left university and pursued your dream of becoming a fashion designer until you had to recalibrate yourself and your operations and how you did things, and there was no self-doubt there.
There is. The sense of doubt is always there. The sense of fear is always there. That's good motivators for you to survive. You cannot lose that. If you lose that, you become complacent. And when you become complacent, that's when you lose everything.
Was there ever a time when that self-doubt led you to actually reflect on where you were at the time, and did it ever reach a point when you decided, or not decided, but you considered giving up being a fashion designer?
Of course,
really?
of course.
At what point was this? And
this
why?
was
Why
2015. This was 2015.
Oh, rather recent.
Yeah, very recent. That's one of the reasons why I flew to the States to reflect and to.
You were in New York, right?
Yeah, I was in New York.
Did you study there also?
Yes, I studied like a crash course, like a short course, like a master class, something that I already knew, but I just had.
Which came first, London or New York?
London. London was 2013. New York was 2016. Like 3 years
after. So London was
after.
an internship.
London was like a compressed master class program. So I studied for like an entire month. Like the setting is like I'm back to being high school. I'd go to school at 9 a.m. and then go home at 4 p.m. That's how intensive it was.
And then part of it was an internship in Cebuano.
Yes.
Okay, and the one in New York?
The one in New York was just like a small school.
It doesn't matter, but what was the program about?
Just basic dressmaking, which I already know how to do.
Because for me in New York, it's not so much the school or the program; it's the whole environment.
Yes, the creative environment just
really
drives you.
Creativity.
True.
It's really where it's a concrete jungle where dreams are made of.
Yes, exactly.
Like Alicia Keys, so aptly put. So anyway, so even despite being out in the real world, making a name for yourself as a designer, winning a Young Designers competition. I was there. In Waterfront.
Yeah, Waterfront.
Yeah, theater.
Yes, you were there.
Of course.
Oh my God.
I'm supportive as a friend. In the shadows, I support.
Thank you.
That
was like ages ago.
Must have been 25, 6?
No, 2007. 2007, 2008, 2009, I was with Guess.
Yeah, because I remember I was with my ex.
Oh! Of course. We have to insert that, the ex.
We watched it together.
Oh,
so
yeah.
anyway, with an X.
With an X. Okay.
If you say my ex, then it becomes very
recent
and more special, I guess. So that's
with
what
an
I'm
X, yeah.
So anyway, despite having won the Cebu Young Designers Competition, having studied in London, having also had that stint in New York, not all young designers have had the opportunity. You still found yourself in a situation where you doubted.
Yes, of course.
And wanted to quit.
All the time.
Why?
All the time.
Why did it happen in 2015? What happened then that made you?
2015, I was really swamped with a lot of work, so I almost had no time for myself. So I was like,
you were burnt out.
Yeah, I was burnt out, and then my shrink would always tell me, "Oh, that's."
You saw a shrink.
I did because.
This is in New York.
No, here. I didn't travel to New York not until I get her approval. Not until I got her approval to travel alone.
So
yeah,
so
I was
shared to your shrink.
I was really burnt out. So the shrink kept telling
But you were depressed.
I was. So is that okay to mention that on?
Why not? I mean, we're trying to end the stigma, and when it comes to these things.
So I'm very supportive about mental health issues. So
but a lot of artists go through that.
Yeah,
it's very common.
I think it's like a given. Yeah. It's like a given. But I'm not saying it because I wanted to, get into the creative vibe. Yeah, I'm romanticizing. No. It's really a phase, and it's real.
So how did you get yourself out of that rut?
I had to say no to a couple of things, like things that I stopped.
Learning how to say no.
Yeah, because during that time I just kept on saying yes, accepting every challenge after challenge,
Because you're young, you wanted to do everything you could do as quickly as possible.
True, I was young, and then
we're old now, no? In a way.
Do you think?
Because I also say no.
I managed to stay young,
Young at heart.
Young at heart.
Old in terms of maturity.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think the moment you're able to say no, then
that's like a.
I think that's one of the biggest achievements, no? So you were able to pull yourself out of the rut by.
Thank God.
By learning how to say no.
Yeah.
You said a couple of things. How long did that phase last?
I'm even struggling until now. But luckily, I only see my shrink like twice a year na lang.
But it's very brave of you to be able to admit these things in public. And I guess it makes you stronger, and it makes you in control.
I had to acknowledge that I needed help because I was such a control freak. So if I wanted something to end a certain way, I would make sure that it really ended a certain way, the way I expected it to. So I was a control freak like that.
Let's read a comment here from Mark. We know this. Mark Melgo, no? Lord is indeed one of Cebu's premier designers. I have been following his success story for quite some time now. You can even consider me a fan of his work. From then until now, I have been wishing to have a Lord Maturan piece. All the blessings he's receiving are well deserved, no doubt about that. Wow, beautiful words from Mark Melgo.
Oh, honey, come by and I'll make you like a like a set.
A set. Wow. Marie Fairback again. Please congratulate Lord. For a person like me now to appreciate the product or results, he must be good, because I'm very discerning.
You are.
Nice, good ang iyang gihimo for you, Mike.
Thank you, Miss Fairbank.
Oh, she has a question for you.
What?
At the level Lord is in now, what else does he want to achieve at this moment?
At this moment, it's cliche, no? It's cliche, but I really wanted to bring the Philippines in the fashion map. And so far, Michael Cinco, Fern Amato, Carrie Santiago were able to do that.
How will you do it differently?
I'd really wanna be like a brand that becomes like a household name when it comes to ready to wear, like D&G or Dolce & Gabbana or like Marquesa. Like, people would even write their names as like wish lists. Like, I want to have like a Marquesa gown.
I don't even know who Marquesa is.
Oh, they're like a New York based.
See, my fashion quotient is
yes, I'd really want to take the brand like into international arena. Like, elevate it into something like clothes that you could just buy off the rack, rather than, you know, made to order and have to.
You know, with Marie, who's commenting here, we also try, you know, to help, even if we're not the most what do you say that most involved fashion. We're not fashion people. I mean, I'm not a fashion expert, but in whatever little way we can, we try to expose. You know, Marie is watching with Eric. You know Eric there?
Yes, the cute Eric. Hi, Eric.
We try to expose. Hopefully we can bring you to London for the next London Fashion Week.
I love that.
For House of Icons during London Fashion Week. And we did the same last September.
With Philip Campos, right?
Yes, with Philip Campos, who wowed the crowd, you know, with this collection that had hablon, it had silk cocoon, piña cocoon, and we even had a show in the House of Lords, which is separate from the House of Icons, and it was very well received. In the audience in attendance were some lords and ladies. Yeah, very distinguished gentlemen and women from the UK. So I guess, you know, you would also have something very unique to offer, and hopefully you'll be able to do that.
I hope so. I hope so too.
Anyway, we have to pause for another break. Open mic, we'll be right back after
Open mic.
We're back here on Open Mic with the Lord Maturan.
Whatever.
Anyway, Lord, so that's your journey so far as a fashion designer. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I want to see myself 10 years from now, you know, just manning shop after shop, you know, checking the, you know, sales, invoices, because I really want to become like a international brand, hopefully.
You mentioned earlier that you made some compromises, you know. That doesn't make you sell out, you're just in touch with reality.
Yes.
There are certain things that you have to take care of.
Yes.
You know, your family, bills, etc. In other words, you grew up.
Yes.
Bills
made me grow up.
As you maintain your inner child, which is, I guess, where all the creativity emanates from. No? Will you make another compromise? For example, if, say, love life, and there is a choice to scale back on your dreams, on your business, fashion, if it means the success of a relationship?
That's a really interesting question. Wow, beauty queen levels. But the thing is, when I started to open the shop, 2 years while I was running the business,
When did this open again?
2010. Okay. So around 2011, 2012, I was in a relationship with an Italian guy.
Wow.
Yeah, with an Italian guy. Is that even okay to mention?
Va bene.
Yeah, va bene, va bene.
Okay.
But then the cultures are very different. And I was young and I wanted to run a business. He was in for the relationship and wanted to marry.
Oh, okay.
Wanted to marry. So at some point, when I was in London, he proposed to me.
I think I remember those pictures, yeah.
Yeah, he proposed to me. But then I had to make a tough choice. I have to choose my career.
Yeah, but that was at the time.
Yeah, at the time.
You were in a different phase of life. You were starting out. Most of the time, when people start out, they're more hungry. You know, they're more unwilling to yield and make compromises. But now, fast forward to this time of life for you, or maybe in the next 5 years or so, you know, you've established yourself in the bridal industry. Would you be as unrelenting?
The thing about running a business is that it changes you. It changes you as a person. So right now, a lot of my friends would tell me, because, you know, I whine sometimes, like, I wish I had a love life. But then my friends would always butt in and say, Lord, I don't think you're the type of person who could ever carry a relationship, because you've gotten so on guard as a business person that no amount of romance would ever convince you.
Oh. So that's what your friends see in you.
Yeah.
Is that what you see in yourself?
I think it's kind of true.
Until someone comes along and they sweep you off your feet, and then you start questioning your very existence.
That would take so much. That would take so much.
So the long and short of it is, at this point, at the stage you're going,
I've gotten so used to being alone and making things work all by myself that I don't really need anyone.
Alone, but not lonely.
Not lonely.
I always see you in the mall by yourself, enjoying a good meal or watching a movie.
Yes, watching a movie, eating out by myself.
Preference?
It's a preference. It's a preference. I get easily annoyed by people, when you watch a movie with people and they ask you about the whole situation. I'm like, girl,
yes, an important conversation.
Yes, girl, we're watching the same movie, so don't ask me.
Yeah.
So I get easily annoyed by that. And then when I eat out, I mean, it's already a struggle for me to think about where to eat because that's part of it comes with my with my depression. So I don't know. I find it so hard to decide where to eat out. So imagine if I were in a relationship, that would be like an entire conversation and an entire struggle times 2.
Or you can just stare at each other.
Stare at each other and what? Eat him? No. Eat them?
Eat the food.
Eat whatever.
Be quiet and then eat each other.
Yes. That's a difference.
But what's this? That's really who you are. It's part of. You think it's part of your creative process?
I think
being
so.
Alone?
I think so.
You think it will affect or hamper your creativity if there were people around you?
Yes, because I easily get distracted. So once I'm in the zone, like I'm creatively in the zone or businessly in the zone, I get distracted I really hate needy people.
For other artists, like writers, it's always a writer's block versus a deadline. And as a business person, I'm sure that you have to make sure that you meet deadlines, quotas, and deadlines. Yes. Right? I mean, I don't know what you call them, but if there's a wedding, all the deliverables. Yeah. Is that a challenge?
Not really, because
you have it all figured out.
Yes.
Like
I've developed a system that works for me. So we make the clothes really early. So our standard is like if you were a bride of ours, you have to book us like 9 months prior.
Wow.
And then 3 months before your wedding, you get to fit your gown. And then a month before your wedding, you get to fit your gown again.
Very Savile Row, huh?
Yes.
I mean, yes. But that's not a gown. But for the suits there, it takes a while, and then it takes a few fittings. You have to commit yourself.
Yeah. I'm not saying that we're the best designers in town, but what we do is we deliver the best customer service. Good.
Do you still have time to design for leisure, for fun, for yourself?
Yeah, I do. There was a time when
you just draw.
Yeah, I just doodle it and have this made.
Are there times when you're in the car or you're in the mall by yourself and then you have an aha moment? Okay, this is what. Oh my gosh, I should do this. I should make this. And then,
in the car all the time.
And you doodle.
Yeah.
And how much in terms of percentage, how much of those that end up on paper become an actual
well, most of the things that I have in mind are not really sellable. They're mostly like creative stuff.
But do you realize them?
I do, but they only come out at fashion shows.
Avant-garde.
Yes, but they're never the type that gets sold. That gets sold. That you can sell or whatever.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is always black. I don't know if it's even a color. It's not. It's not. Or something. Yeah.
But still, yeah.
It's the absence of color. I think black is the absence of color.
If we're using mainstream, I mean, if you say black, it's not technically a color, but yeah, I'll take that. Favorite color is black. Favorite fabric.
Favorite fabric would have to be wool.
Wool.
Yes.
But it's not very friendly.
For bridal, yeah, but it's
for the Philippines.
But no, we have polyblend wool here that works really well with our climate.
So this black wool. Favorite design, like a
favorite design would have to be a perfectly tailored suit. That's my favorite thing.
Perfectly tailored suit. Yes. Who's your favorite fashion icon?
Fashion icon would have to be
local and international. One each.
Local would have to be who? Kinsa man. Local, but practicing internationally would have to be Fern Amato. Fern Oning Amato. International would have to be Alexander McQueen.
So those are designers, but what about
fashion icons?
Those who wear designs very well.
Oh, okay. Lady Gaga would have to be one.
So really avant-garde.
Lady Gaga, Madonna. Locally. How Heart Evangelista could carry could carry someone really well.
Favorite movie in the context of fashion?
Favorite movie in the context of fashion would have to be Devil Wears Prada. Well, that's a given. Fifth Element. Have you ever seen it? Yes. It's a futuristic themed movie, and all of the costume designs were done by Gaultier. Jean-Paul Gaultier.
See, I have some fashion questions.
Yes, of course.
So, what's his favorite supermodel? Male and female.
Male would have to be Nigel Barker.
Oh, I corresponded with him before.
Oh yeah.
Photographer.
Oh yeah, photographer. Model turned photographer. Model would have female would have to be Naomi Campbell.
Oh, so very 90s.
Yes, very 90s. I love the 90s supermodels. Her tenacity and her bitchiness at times. I prefer
Martini. There's
party. That's very 90s. So I prefer
not Cindy Crawford.
Cindy Crawford is more commercial than
I love her. Anyway, yeah. But yours a better choice, I guess, for a fashion designer.
Yes.
Can I backtrack a bit?
Okay.
Clueless is not
It is.
Yeah.
Clueless is like what you call this? It's a
timeless.
No, it reflects like a certain period of the 90s. That's kind of some of the 90s.
I think I'm
kids.
stuck there.
We were at some point.
I think I still am. I love Clueless.
Funny thing is, Clueless is one of the fashion references of today. You see them in music videos. You see music videos that reference Clueless.
Yeah, like even some of the expressions that Clueless popularized have withstood the test of time.
Yeah, but mostly it's already changed now with the millennials.
I'm sorry, but I still
woke, lit.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay. And then where was it? Where were we? Oh, okay, we were Lights on, lights off.
Lights off.
Off.
Yes.
Top bottom.
Oh my god. I'm a bottom. Oh my god. On national TV.
No, it's besides Mindanao.
Ano de, sige bitaw.
Are you sexually comfortable with yourself? I mean, do you feel awkward? Is it something that you openly explore?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Does it affect or does it influence your designs? Sexuality, how much of it?
Of course, yes. A lot of my creativity is like very influenced with sexual impulses. Because attraction is like a main thing when dressing up. So one of your objectives is to not only to look good but to look attractive. So the sexual aspect of fashion is always there. Would you believe that? Yeah.
Wait,
do you agree?
Before we end, yes I do. But before we end tonight's episode, if you were to choose one hat for Lord, whatever it is, top hat or a bottom hat, no, a top hat or a fascinator or whatever. What hat would it be? Lord Maturan, the son, Lord Maturan, the fashion designer, Lord Maturan, the businessman. What are you? You can choose something that's not in my choices.
Lord Maturan, the multitasker, because I make things work. I mean, if I'm being given like a challenge, I'd initially say no, but then I'll say yes anyway, and will get really scared if I fail to deliver.
Like you said no to me initially. With
I said no at first,
and then you delivered.
My God.
Wonderfully.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, my hands are cold.
I wish you all the best as you pursue your chosen field, which I am happy is coincidentally your passion. So thank you everyone for joining us in this conversation with one of Cebu's premier designers, fashion designers, Lord Maturan. Until next week, this is Mike Lopez, and this is another episode of Open Mic. Good night and Godspeed.
Bye.